أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. And of utmost importance, something that we tend to forget, even though it's very obvious, this is the human nature. Insan comes from one of the root derivatives, which is nisyan. So it is a common theme amongst human beings to forget. But of utmost importance, which we have discussed already, is that when we recite these words, Maliki Yawmiddin, we need to remember that there will be a party amongst us that will enter the garden and attain absolute bliss as a result of that entrance, serenity, absolute contentment, absolute joy, and eternal happiness. Something that, the ego tempts us with in the world today is to be exposed to pleasures. But the nature of pleasures is such that it is, number one, it is temporary. Exposure to pleasure, when we feel pleasure from a worldly perspective, it tends to be temporary, finite. And not only that, but it is something that is that we experience with our outward form, externally. Happiness is something that comes within. Happiness endures a lot longer, and it is an inward state of being. And so eternal happiness will be acquired as a result of entering this place of absolute pleasantries and absolute happiness. While the sad reality is that another party will enter the hellfire, in which there will be absolute agony, there will be absolute remorse, absolute humiliation, and absolute regret. Yawm al-hasra. It is a form of regret that we cannot even conceptualize, conceive in this world. A day of regret. There is no going back. There's no second chance. And then you realize the veils are lifted and you recognize what was at stake. Now you know what was at stake, and all you had to do was a few good deeds in the dunya, believe in God, do your utmost to steer clear of trying to take the rights of others or trying to bring pain and suffering unto others, and then you would have acquired so much. And so you can, again, you can't even imagine the regret that will be faced on that day. Hence, one of its titles is Yawm al-Hasra. Now, while there is a stern warning in relation to the day of recompense, the day of judgment, the day of repayment, and you know that this day of repayment is fast approaching. It is fast approaching. We don't truly realize how quick it will feel once we are in the hereafter, because space and time will change. Relativity of time will change. What is 100 years on earth here will seem like a few seconds over there. And so one will think, it was for a few seconds of pleasure that I gave all of this up. And so not only is that day fast approaching, Yawm al-Azifa, it is fast approaching, it is unavoidable. One of the only certainties in life in which what we will experience is death. So that day is fast approaching. But while this is a stark warning, a stark reminder that there is a day of accountability that is coming, that there is a day in which you will be judged for what you have done in this world, and not an atom's worth of good will be overlooked, and not an atom's worth of evil that you do will be overlooked. And hence that may bring about a sense of fear and anxiety. And another theme to this verse, in which it can actually produce the exact opposite. So it's not something that will instill fear. It is something that will, instead of fear, instead of anxiety, will bring about calm, serenity, ease, something that will make you feel relaxed, and something that has positivity to it. Maliki Yawmiddin. When looked at it from this perspective, it is as though God Almighty is reminding humanity that, look, relax everybody. Do not be in a state of anxiety from the perspective of trying to gain as much of the dunya as you possibly can. Trying to get as much of the world as you can in the limited amount of time that you have. You know that your time on this earth is finite. What is it? 60 years, 70 years, maybe 80 years, right, on average. And so knowing that, you enter a state of anxiety because you want to try and experience as much pleasures as you can. In addition to trying to experience as much pleasures as you can in this world, you're trying to hoard as much wealth as you can as well. And so Allah is reminding us, Maliki Yawmiddin, He is the master. He is the king of the day of judgment that is approaching. And that day of judgment is going to be a part and parcel of another life to come. So be at ease and be relaxed, humanity. It is not only this world that you will experience. It is not only this world in which you will indulge, but there is another world to come. And that is what is signified in this judgment. Why have a judgment if there's no repercussion post-judgment? If there's no repercussion as nothing that we take as a result of that judgment, nothing that comes thereafter, what's the point of having the judgment? And so what people tend to do when they are not reminded of the fact that there is another world to come after this world is that they'll do whatever they can in order to take as much from this world as they possibly can, experience as much pleasures in this world as they possibly can. Some people will con others, some people will cheat others, some people will lie, some people will abuse, some people will kill, some people will kill en masse, killing children and justifying the fact that they're killing children for some personal gain or some political gain or for some other worldly benefit. Killing countless others, killing creatures in order to acquire what? In order to acquire more of the world before they die, only to have someone else take everything that they have acquired once they do depart from this world. That's the sad irony. That is the sad irony of this world. And thus, this verse and many others like it remind us that it is the moral and spiritual assets that we need to pursue. But it is attaining the moral and spiritual assets that we need to focus on. Because, dear brothers and sisters, unlike material wealth, unlike the assets of the material world, they are not going to be coming with you. All that they will be doing is passing on to somebody else to enjoy while you are gone, and you are approaching that day of judgment of which Allah is the king and Allah is the master. And so this verse can reassure us. Not only is it a stark warning that can instill some fear, but it can be a reassurance, a move for us to relax and to remove anxiety from us that there is another world that is coming. So don't be overly concerned that you cannot acquire as much of this world as you possibly can. And never will you be satisfied. The Prophet ﷺ said, he said, when the son of Adam is given a mountain of gold, he will simply want a second one. And so our pursuit should not be that of the material. That should not be our primary focus in this world, material assets, rather spiritual, moral, and ethical assets should be what our focus is in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. By time, this is one of the interpretations of this verse in this manner, by time. Verily, indeed, humanity is in a state of complete bankruptcy, like loss of everything. If humanity pursues only the material world, if humanity is obsessed only with the material world, with the biological aspect of this world, of this creation, then time is always going to hunt you down. And when it does, at the end of it, when that predator that is time catches up with you, catches its prey, then everything that you did related to the material world will be gone. There is nothing that you will take once time has caught up with you. Once that predator that is time has caught up with you and put an end to your material existence in this material world. When it comes to time, all creatures are at a loss and will be at a loss, complete loss, a state of complete bankruptcy. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Except for those who have faith. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Except for those who have faith and do a few righteous deeds, doing their utmost to try and do a few righteous deeds, implement a few righteous acts. Those that enjoin, those that try to propagate, those that try and encourage truth and honesty to prevail, while in a state of patience, embodying a state of patience and propagating patience to others. Then time is no longer a predator, but an opportunity. Time becomes a companion for you to be able to gain these spiritual assets, these moral assets that will come with you once time puts an end by Allah's decree to your time in this earth, your material existence in this material earth, but you are not in a state of complete bankruptcy, because your acquisition in this world was to acquire that which will come with you to the next world. Maliki Yawmiddin, the master, the king, the ruler, the owner of the day of recompense. Once the appetite is tamed, dear brothers and sisters, and the relentless passion to hoard more and more of the earth, soon the universe. We're going to try and hoard some aspects of the universe. Once that is cured, and that has to be cured, that is a disease in the heart that has to be cured, then and only then can humanity truly be free to aspire towards moral excellence, empathy, excellence in empathy, excellence in care, excellence in concern for others.
عليك يا سيدنا يا رسول الله